Everybody, welcome to the Planning Board, February 1st, 2023. We start our meetings with the Pledge of Allegiance, so please stand and join with me. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we get some housekeeping items to do. One is that anybody needs any assistance, do not use the elevator. We have an exit in the back of the room. We have an exit off to my immediate right. Anybody with any electronic devices, please either vibrate them or put them into silent mode. With that, I'd like to now introduce the board, and starting with the director, Mr. George Sioris.
Good evening.
Town Manager's representative, Mr. Andy Chase.
Good evening.
Going back to the Assistant Planning, is Liz Robidoux.
Good evening.
Full-time member, Mr. Bernice.
Dave Bernese. Good evening. Hi, I'm Dave. It's the beard.
Yeah, we got it out.
Yeah, there's an edit there. There's an edit. Do we have a button, Owen?
We're on cable TV, we're good.
We have Vice Chair, Mr. McCaffrey. We have the man that's supposed to be holding the button over there, Mr. Owen Provencher.
Good evening.
And we have Mr. Connors here.
Good evening.
And we have Mr. Mallaby.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
We have Mr. Mears. Good evening. And we have Mr. Nelson, who's the secretary.
Good evening.
I'm the chairman, John O'Connor. Welcome. So with that, the first item of business is to go over escrows. And the first escrow is the Hyla Brook Wedding Venue, developer, Hyla Brook Land Holdings, escrow account same. Excuse me. Escrow type, performance bond, parcel ID location, 3110, which is at 140 Rockingham Road. Please establish performance bond number 0826665, issued by IFIC surety for the above-noted project in the amount of $259,070.40. The expiration date shall be January 24th, 2024.
So moved. Second.
So we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstain, motion passes. Next item on there is the approval of minutes of January 18th, 2023.
Move to approve.
And do we have a second?
I'll second it.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any changes, modifications, corrections? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstain.
Give me an abstention, I wasn't here.
So,
Mr. Chairman, I will also abstain. I wasn't here.
Uh-oh, wait a second. 1, 2,
yeah, you're correct.
3,
Andy,
4.
That's me too. I was not here, so I
There's 4 abstains and 1, 2, 3, 5 are here. You're all set.
Also, my vice chair is my parliamentarian. With that, other business, we have a voluntary, correspondence. Mr. Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We have 2 items in our correspondence package this evening. We have the 2022 Town of Derry report prepared by the Southern New Hampshire Planning Commission. They have included a description of tasks done on our behalf and the number of staff hours that were included in those efforts. We also have the January, February copy of Town and City magazine.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Nelson. Other business, voluntary merger of 13 and 15 Escumbent, PID 16018 and PID 16018-001, 15 and 13 Incumbent Road. Mr. Sioris.
Staff would recommend it. We've seen this one before. These lots were unmerged a couple of years ago. Now they're being merged back together. For the folks at home, Escombuet Road is down off Big Island Pond on the Hampstead or Atkinson line, Randall? Yep, so staff would recommend approval.
And does this require a vote of the board?
Yes, it does.
Mr.
There's
Chairman.
a motion and staff report.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, this is pretty straightforward. I know we've seen this before because it rang a bell as soon as it was said. So I'm going to make a motion to approve pursuant to RSA 674:39A, voluntary merger of PID 16018-15 Escambua Road and PID 16018-001-13 Escambua Road. Parcel 16018-001 will be deleted, and parcel 16018 will be retained.
So we have a motion and a second. Do you have any questions? Mr. Connors?
Yeah, just since this did come up before, and the question I had in looking at the notes, so they split these three, and I guess I just want to understand, George, 13, 15, and 17, but then we go to lot numbers. So is 18-001 technically 17 Escambua? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Because I remember going out there, and this one, it was subdivided or broken up again. Then they built this huge house, and it was within like a foot of the lot line. So they're adding an empty lot to that side of the property now, and that can't be developed. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay, so this is a good thing. All right, good.
New property owner.
Just wanted to make sure, because, yeah, it looked like perhaps they were going to try and merge that with 16 and build another big house. So if that's not happening, it's probably a good thing for the lake.
Are you okay? All right, so we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion passes. Planning Director and Chairman updates.
John, the only thing I have, unless you want to say, just a reminder, we'll send a reminder out. We have a site walk with the planning board on Saturday, February 11th at 9 o'clock. We're going to start walking some of the streets on Broadway. We'll meet here in the parking lot around 9, and we'll start on Pearl Street where the fire was on the corner, and then we'll walk all the side streets on the north side of Broadway to look at the zoning ramifications. So we'll loop around, so give yourself probably a couple of hours. If the weather's bad, we'll send a notice out to cancel or postpone. Okay?
That's this Saturday?
No, next Saturday, the 11th, February 11th. Not this Saturday, a week from this Saturday. And park here at 9, and we'll start walking, and then we'll walk on the south side of Broadway to like Railroad Ave, Wall Street, Central Street, Abbott Court. And then we'll walk down to Maple Street to the Opera House.
Okay.
Okay.
I got a question for Liz. Whoops. Liz, the worksheet discussion topics, did that go out to the board yet?
Yes, it did.
So everybody should have received Liz's list of items that eventually we'll put it on the agenda and we'll discuss them at another time. The other thing I want to mention is a public announcement. Oh, sorry.
The list that we gave you, we want board members to contact Liz and myself if you're interested in working on those topics. They're not workshop items. We need to know like who would like to step up and work on some of them. Just let Liz know. We'd appreciate that.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
And if I may add, workforce housing should be on that list and was not.
Time's the site walk, 9 o'clock?
Yeah.
9, yeah.
Okay, the public announcement I wanted to make to everybody that's on TV watching is this coming Saturday, and I believe it's at 10 a.m. at West Runningbrook, will be the school board's deliberation. So again, just trying to get the information out. We suggest people dress warmly. Okay, moving on. We're going to have a public hearing. Judith L. Davis, PID 04070, 86 Gulf Road. David A. and Kimberly M. Lobley, I hope I said that correct. PID 04075-007, 6 Sealer Drive. It's an acceptance review. It's a lot line adjustment. Go ahead, George.
Oh, are you up? Okay, we're on the screen. Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I think this is pretty straightforward. As you said, it's a lot line change between Judith, the owners, Judith Davis and David and Kimberly Lobley at 86 Gulf Road and 6 Chella Drive. All town departments have reviewed and signed the plan. There is a waiver request on various items that I'll let Tim Peliquin explain in detail, but again, staff has no issue with the plan. It's pretty straightforward. We recommend approval of both the waivers and the lot line application, and I will turn it over to Tim Peliquin, the surveyor representing the owners.
Thank
Hey,
you.
welcome, Tim.
Thank you. Good evening. Yep, for the record, Tim Peliquin. I'm a licensed land surveyor. My company is Promised Land Survey. So this is relatively straightforward. The Lobleys, actually good friends of mine, own the lot at the end of the left, 6 Sella Drive. It's a fairly new road, just a few years old. The Lobleys built there just a couple years back. David Lobley is in the he's in the high-tech world, but he also does firewood and lakes land. So he has the opportunity to talk to his neighbor and just ask her if she'd be willing to sell her back 3 acres, just to adjoin his piece, to give him more of a buffer for the future, and just some land around him. I know the question will be, are they going to further subdivide? Da, 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 da. And I would tell you that is not on the table, and it's highly unlikely. I can't tell you what might happen 22 years from now, but I will tell you there's no viability of a subdivision here further. But he's just increasing his land from 3 acres to 6 acres, and Mrs. Davis is willing to give up her 8.5 acres and go down to 5.5 acres, basically. And it's just unused woods land, and it relatively straightforward. We did a full survey, and there's no problems with any of the boundaries that we could tell. We have a couple monuments to set should the board approve this plan, and again, relatively straightforward, but I'll try to answer any questions the board or perhaps members of the public would have. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to make a motion to take jurisdiction so we can go through the procedure that we normally have.
Second.
Move to accept jurisdiction of lot line adjustment plan before the board for Judith Davis, PID 04070, 86 Gulf Road, and David and Kimberly Lobley, PID 04075-007, 6 Sella Drive.
Second.
Okay, well, this is a lot line adjustment. I'm just going to do an open call. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion passes.
Okay, so, Mr. Chairman, again, in line with our new rules and regulations for the determination of regional impact, it's not required for lot line adjustments, so I don't even have to vote on it at this time. Having said that, my next motion would be, as norm, open up the public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion passes. Anybody
Owen, is there
wishing-
anybody on TV?
It's always,
Standing by, one moment. Seeing no one rise.
Mr. Chairman, seeing no one rushing to the forefront at our meeting here, since we only have our land surveyor here, I'm going to make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion passes. And we have a series of waivers.
Connors had
And again,
questions.
based,
Mr. Connors had a
I'm sorry.
question.
I just had a question. So, correct me if I'm wrong, Sella Drive, that's the one where we had a hearing. Is it Cooper? Someone's building off the end of this, though, right? They're going to go off the end. Weren't you here before us last year where there's an easement there going off the end of that cul-de-sac up into that land behind there? Or is that, am I thinking a different one?
Oh, yeah, it
Different
is
one.
a
Okay,
different
so this is a
one.
different one. Okay.
There is a piece of land that ends
Yeah,
at
I
the
thought
end
there
of
were,
this.
I remember
That's-
Stoneleigh, I thought this one had one too, because it looks like map 475 does have that easement coming out the end of the circle there, right?
It's actually, yeah, frontage for a back lot.
A road, yeah, okay, that's cool. That's a different one then. Thank you. I'm good.
Mr. Chairman, if there are no other questions from the board members, I'm going to make a motion that we grant all the waivers at once. This is fairly straightforward, so I'll
I agree with you.
I'll move in that fashion. There's no,
We'll give a Reader's
I don't see
Digest.
anybody.
Reader's Digest version. They're just topography, wetlands, other things that aren't really germane to a large parcel
Okay.
of a simple lot line
and
adjustment.
just from the board, no other further questions of Mr. Peliquin?
I looked up and down and didn't see
Okay,
any.
go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to move to grant the waivers from the following sections of the LDCR, as both existing lots conform to zoning ordinances, have existing dwellings, wells, individual surface, subsurface disposal systems, and as no further wherever the development is being proposed with this application, the costs associated with fulfilling the regulations listed below is unnecessary. I will just read the sections. Is that okay, Liz? Waiving section LDCRs as follows. 170-24A, subsection 6. 170-24A, subsection 11. 170-24, subsection 13. 170-25A, subsection 2. 170-25, subsection B. 170-25, subsection C. 170-25, subsection F. Because after review of the waiver request, the board finds that strict conformity to the regulations would pose an unnecessary hardship on the applicant, and the waivers would not be contrary to the spirit and intent of the regulations.
Second.
So we have a motion, we have a second. Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstain, motion passes.
Mr. Chairman, given the following motions and approvals, I'm going to move the finding of facts. Move to find that the proposed plan does not alter existing conditions which would affect access to the lots, ensuring the health, safety, welfare of the neighborhood remains unchanged as a result of the adjustments of the lot lines.
I'll second that.
So we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstain, motion passes.
And the last in a series of these. Mr. Chairman, I'm going to make a motion to approve pursuant to RSA 67643, expedited review with the following conditions. Subject to owner's signature, subject to on-site inspection by town engineer, establishment of the escrow for the setting of bounds of certification bounds have been set. Note the approved waiver on the plan. Obtain written approval from the planning director, designee that the GIS disc is received, operable, and complies with LDCR section 170-24C. Conditions precedent met within 6 months. And finally, submission of the appropriate recording fee payable to the Rockingham County Registry of Deeds to include the $25 L-chip recording fee for the Mylar and notices of our decision.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstain. Mr. Pellegrin, you're good to go.
That was pretty easy.
Anybody aggrieved by this decision? It's 30 days to come back to us.
Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it as always.
Now we're on to board member comments. Yes?
I'll just throw out for interest for the planning board and for anybody who might be listening. Everyone knows that the Derry Rail Trail 4A tunnel situation has been continuing. There is a hearing that took place, one last Thursday, one yesterday in Concord in front of the Finance Committee. State Rep Steve Pearson has put forth a bill to require the DOT to put in the tunnel. There was quite a bit of interesting discussion. The hearing can be seen online, and they did continue the discussion until next week. It's going to be February 7th at 2 p.m., I believe, is the next session.
Correct.
Public input is still being heard, so anybody who has an interest would be good for us to make sure that people are getting their input in front of the folks in Concord.
Okay, anybody else having any comments or?
Seeing no other comments, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion to adjourn. We have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstain. We are adjourned all.
That was a good one.
Thank you.